Hello everyone, today we'll show you a technique and a practice to help you change guitar chords smoothly and a lot faster than you might be used to. This works for all chords, from the most basic to the most complex out there, and it will also be very useful for guitar players of all levels, from beginner to pro. Changing chords smoothly and fast is one of the biggest goals and eventually issues that most guitar players will have to face. And the pressure sometimes of being able to play a chord progression or a whole song right away leads many to develop a wrong technique. By wrong technique, I mean something that seems to work on the surface, but actually in the long run will eventually make it impossible for you to truly capture the sound and the intricacies of rhythm and chord changes. So what is this wrong way of changing chords? Well, the wrong way of changing chords is to switch one finger at a time. Let's say I'm going from C to G, and just for the sake of this video I'll use very simple chords, but you can apply it to any chord you're working on at the moment. And let's say I change like this. Now, for a lot of you, this is quite fast. This is actually perfectly acceptable. But think about it. If I'm moving my fingers one at a time, I'm doing 2, 3, even 4 discrete movements. And no matter how hard I practice, how many hours I spend on this, how fast I can push it, I will always be 2, 3, or 4 times slower than if I could change all the fingers at once. Like that. And you might say, well, it's still plenty fast. It will certainly work for strumming. Will it though? Let's see. Let's take a very simple rhythm made up of only quarter and 8 notes, and let's play it at a moderate tempo, maybe something like this. And then in G. If we count it out, it would be 1, 2, and 4, and 1, 2, and 4, and. Very simple, right? Well, let's see. The last C we're strumming happens on the end of the 4th beat, like this. 4 and. Right after this, we have to go to the G for the 1. Even at this moderate tempo, it will sound something like this. 4 and 1, 4 and 1. So you see, no matter how slow I play, this is pretty fast when it comes to finger movement. By the time I hit the end of the 4, I have to play the C, let it ring out enough, then change, and hit the G. There's not a lot of time, and if my technique is not perfect, what happens is either I get there late, like that, and that's not acceptable, neither is stealing the chord from the previous measure, and do that. So let's fix this. So the ideal way of looking at this is that the C will actually last for the full 4 beats of the measure, and the change will actually happen on the 1 of the new chord, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, change. Just like that. If I can do this, then any rhythm is at my fingertips. 16 notes, quarter notes, 8 notes, triplets, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, because whatever I'm playing in the first measure doesn't truly affect the switch to a new chord, because that actually happens right on the 1. So how do we build this kind of dexterity? Well, let me show you. The first thing, if we're trying to change instantaneously, is that we have to lift off the fingers from the fretboard all at once, like this. And then they have to land all at once in the new shape, in this case G. That means that the change from C to G has to happen in the air as we kind of hover on top of the fretboard. And this is where it gets tricky, so we're going to break it down. Simplifying things is always the best idea when learning something new, so we're going to focus for a few minutes only on the first finger. So let's say we're starting from C major again. When we want to go to G major, we have to move the first finger from the 1st fret of the 2nd string up to the 2nd fret of the 5th. And that's all we're going to think about for a while. We could even imagine a little arrow here that points us from where we start to where we want to go. Let's make it blue, maybe, whatever color you like best. You can practice this for as long as you want, as long as you need. There's no rush. Now let's do the same thing with the 2nd finger. This actually doesn't have to do much. Just go up from the 2nd fret of the 4th string to the 3rd fret of the 6th. And that's all I think about. Let's give this another maybe arrow. Let's make it red. And all I think about is lifting up all the fingers at once and put the middle finger down where it has to be. And then you might have guessed we do the same thing with the 3rd finger. This one has to travel quite a bit actually. From the 3rd fret of the 5th string to the 3rd fret of the 1st. Let's focus on just this finger for a little while. You can see how this will work for any chord change you want to work on. As you do this, you'll develop more and more control. You'll feel that you're actually telling your fingers exactly what it is that you want them to do, instead of just shooting them out and hoping for the best. As you get better and better, you can now try to move all your fingers at once. If that's too hard, you could break it down into pairs or groups, but for the sake of this video and brevity, I'll do all at once now. So I'll play my C, I lift up all my fingers at once and follow those arrows that we had before until I have my fingers placed in the right position for the next chord while still in the air. And then I'll bring them down all at once. So I'll play my C, lift, change, land, and check it. As you do this for a few days or weeks, or for some of you, even just hours, you'll notice how your fingers now know exactly what it is you want them to do. And that's a great thing about this exercise. You're not really practicing C to G, are you? What you're practicing is purposeful and controlled finger movement. And if you do it properly, this will trickle down to any following chord you practice. So the first chord change might be a little hard, the next one will be a little easier, and then it gets easier and easier and easier until really it will become pretty much instantaneous. Any chord you want to play, you'll be able to play. If you're having trouble with a certain chord, or maybe a certain finger stops collaborating, don't feel bad about it, don't get stressed, just simply go back to the first exercise and just focus on that one finger. Take your time, because that's how you'll get the most results the quickest. Practicing this exercise and this whole process will do wonders to your playing. I can 100% guarantee it. So spend some time with it, invest some effort in it, and you'll see amazing results. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and found it useful. If you did, maybe give it a like. If you haven't joined us yet, please do subscribe, and I look forward to reading all your comments below. As always, thank you very much for your support, for your kindness, and for sticking around till the end of the video. I'll see you on the next one.